Malaysia has reached out to its neighbors seeking support against China and its claims on the South China Sea. Malaysia says it can't stand alone against China's aggressions. So just how powerful is Malaysia? Well, in terms of its size, Malaysia is somewhat average. At nearly 130,000 square miles, or about the size of the U.S. state of New Mexico, Malaysia is the 67th largest country in the world. Malaysia's population of nearly 30 million ranks higher than most countries, but pales in comparison to neighboring Indonesia and the Philippines, which together account for more people than in the United States. But Malaysia's population is growing, and the country has considerable economic potential. With a GDP of $338 billion, Malaysia joins the ranks of South Africa and Colombia as a middle-income country. Malaysia's Prime Minister Najib Razak hopes to bolster the country to high-income status by 2020, in part by reducing its dependence on exports, which account for more than 80% of its GDP. Historically, Malaysia relied solely on resource-based exports like palm oil and gas. However, today, the country boasts a wide range of exports, many of which are non-resource-based, like electronics and cars. Malaysia is also part of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the Trans-Pacific Partnership, both of which promise greater economic cooperation between member states. But Malaysia's government is plagued with corruption scandals. Prime Minister Najib himself has been accused of pocketing more than $1 billion of state funds. Militarily, Malaysia is also somewhat unimpressive. Stacked against the world's defense, the country comes in 34th, just below Myanmar. This is in part because Malaysia only allots about 1.5% of its GDP towards its armed forces, well below the U.S.'s nearly 4% and NATO's recommended 2%. In the case of an invasion, Malaysia's army of just over 400,000 troops would most likely be outnumbered, as most of its neighbors have significantly stronger militaries. Indonesia's army boasts more than twice as many troops as Malaysia, and China has roughly 10 times as many. But due to Malaysia's small military, the country has formed partnerships with most of its powerful neighbors. Surely this is why Malaysia is seeking help from its Southeast Asian allies in its battle over the South China Sea. Malaysia has historically taken a back seat in the dispute, but after China encroached on the country's territorial waters in 2015, Malaysia has taken a harder line toward China. In the scope of this conflict and on the world stage, Malaysia is effectively powerless on its own. Until the country makes significant strides toward its promising economic future, it will surely remain subordinate to its more powerful neighbors.